Carter, tonight I am like the Duke Blue Devils because I went on a run tonight and I feel pretty good. I feel like a winner.
See, now this could mean a lot of things because you're a runner, as in moving your feet. What kind of run was this?
Well, Duke went on a nice run late. That's what I'm excited about because they were only up 9 with like 8 minutes left in this game. And I'm sweating Duke minus 16. And ultimately, they win the game by 21. 89-68 was the final. This game might be the number one leader in the clubhouse for this game was closer than it looks.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a game this season that was more closer than it looks than this one. That's not to say that Duke didn't play well, but it's more to give credit to Hofstra, who really showed up early in this game. They had I believe, a 4-point lead on Duke late in the first half. They had Darlin Stone Dubar with 7 threes, 7 for 11 from behind the arc in this one. Tyler Thomas, of course, was good. We knew he was going to be good, but I came away pretty impressed with Hofstra, despite the fact that Duke really pulled away late. What's your impression of the Pride?
Yeah, I definitely came away impressed with Hofstra, and I think that one of the first things that you mentioned on the preview episode was that if Hofstra somehow makes their way into March, there's nothing you could tell me or stats or anything that could be told to me to not placing a small wager on those guys. I'm sorry. Like in the first half of the game, I know it's a 2-half game and the final score indicates what it indicates. But for my money, the Hofstra guards were neck and neck or better than the Duke guards for most of the first half, I think, early on in that game. So I don't think they have anything to hang their heads about. I mean, you look at it, just looking at the box score of this game, Hofstra shoots 50% from the field, 41% from three. I mean, they did not have a bad offensive game. They made 10 threes in this game. I mean, that's kind of what you need. But we talked about needing that's a good shooting performance for Hofstra. They needed a nuclear offensive production game from three to kind of have a chance to win this game. And they really didn't have that. And meanwhile, while they're doing that, Duke themselves was able to shoot 55% from three. I'm sorry, 55% from the field, 50% from three. I mean, they were able to get anything they wanted offensively as well. So, yeah, I think it's the final score is definitely not indicative of how actually kind of close this game was, especially in the first half. But, I think the Blue Devils cream just kind of rose to the top at the end of it.
Yeah, I like this Duke team. I like them. Am I allowed to say that right now? So
Why do you like them now? Because you didn't like them before.
Yeah, let's try and do some mental math here, shall we? I spent the first 3 weeks of the season telling everyone I've seen this Duke team play in person. I've seen them on my television, and I thought they were soft. I didn't like the Duke team really at all. I didn't believe in the collection of guys that they had on the floor that they were trying to win games with. I like this version of Duke. It feels a little bit different to me. And look, this is going full conspiracy mode. I don't want to do that. And our boy Jim Root, second chance points on Twitter, I believe made a pure sarcastic joke tonight where he said, quote, Tyrese Proctor is Australian for addition by subtraction. Jim is kidding. I want to be very clear about that. And he made that clear in the comments of that post. I'm half kidding. I'm half not. Here's some things that I actually think have changed with this Duke team without Tyrese Proctor. Number one, instead of it being a quote unquote like 2 stars situation, Kyle Filipowski is everything for Duke when Tyrese Proctor's not on the floor. I like that version of Duke. And Flip was bad against Charlotte. Want to make that extremely clear. Only finished with 5 points in that game. Tonight, he almost had a triple-double. I've never seen Flip almost have a triple-double. I loved the Kyle Filipowski that I saw tonight, and I get that Tyrese Proctor's a great passer. He makes guys better. I just don't think we see a Duke offense that is geared around playing through Filipowski if Tyrese Proctor is on the floor with Jeremy Roach, with these talented freshmen, with Kyle Filipowski. I want to see a team that's entirely centered around Flip. Like, in a sick way, Cart, Zach Edey is the best player in the country. Maybe he transcends the rosters around him. But if Zach Edey was on a team with Kyle Filipowski and with Terrence Shannon and with Tyler Kolek and with somebody else. Is Zach Edey still the do everything usage every single play guy that he is on Purdue? Like, part of the reason Zach Edey looks so good is Painter crafted this just to be the Zach Edey show. Duke has so much talent, they don't really do that with one guy. And I think, in a sick way, they might be better crafting it around Flip offensively, because I think Flip is that special.
Yeah, I agree. And, despite him having 7 turnovers in this game, 2 assists away from a triple-double, and it's just like, okay, come on now. I don't know if y'all hear that. There's ads just blaring in the background. Good grief. But, having Filipowski kind of as the center of attention, no, like pun intended, him being the center of this team, everything is just drawn to him. It's just him making plays. Like, if they're not going to send a double team, there's not many bigs that are stopping Flip one-on-one, like, in the country. That's just is what it is. He's the first team All-American level talent. And then you surround that guy, you surround that level of talent with other talented guys that know that Flip is the most talented player on the team. Now, I'm not saying Tyrese Proctor does not know that, but I think that Tyrese Proctor came back this year being the guy. Like, he wanted to be the guy. He wanted to be Batman. Flip's his Robin. But in this situation, when Flip is Batman, I think it just looks a lot better because everybody else knows he's Batman. And all those other guys are talented as well. Like, Flip draws so much attention because you have to double him and you have to send more guys at him that you got kickouts to Caleb Foster. You got kickouts to Jared McCain, who's 3 for 4 from 3. You got Jeremy Roach, who's 3 for 5 from 3, and also poured in 8 assists and added 19 points himself. Like, Jeremy Roach doesn't get enough love. And me saying that, for anyone who's followed sleepers for a long time, they know what that means for me to say that. It means a lot. It's probably it's indicative of how good he has been and how good he is, but he really doesn't get the credit for it because he's just a guy who's been there forever. He's the older guy. He's a steady guy, but he can do a lot more. That's the thing. So I like the way this Duke team is trending. And is it an addition by subtraction? Probably not. Not completely, but maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, you need
just a smidge.
you need opportunity to look better. And look, I don't think there's anybody on the Duke team outside of Flip tonight that like looks better without Tyrese Proctor. Like, Jared McCain didn't do anything we haven't seen him do before. Caleb Foster didn't do anything we haven't seen him do before. But those guys are in bigger roles when Flip's not there, and it's kind of refreshing to see them. Mark Mitchell was the good guy tonight. I certainly don't think he would be like some breakout star if Tyrese Proctor wasn't here. This was just the type of opponent that Mark Mitchell can feast on, and we talked about in the preview. Like, there's not much resistance from Hofstra defensively that was going to stop the talent that Duke has, and Mark Mitchell's one of those guys. But yeah, I just I don't know. I want to see more of it, because the second side of the Tyrese Proctor coin that we haven't mentioned is the buzzword. It's the S word. It's the soft word. I adamantly believe to my core that this Duke team at full strength has been particularly soft in their losses, in some of their wins. I was not impressed with their toughness against Michigan State, quite frankly. They were playing for foul calls. They were flopping all over the court against a team they were just way more talented than and couldn't separate from. And Tyrese Proctor is the number one initiator of that problem. Like, I don't mean to just single him out with it, because I think Flip is a little bit there too. But when you've got 2 guys that play that dramatically for calls, and I don't know how to describe it. I don't think your 2 best players on a great team can be wired that way. And when you remove one of them, then all of a sudden the rest of the team looks a little, because I don't think Jared McCain's soft. I don't think Caleb Foster's soft. Jeremy Roach is definitely not soft.
And to add a little bit to that, it's more noticeable when it's the guy who has the ball in his hands and is bringing it up the court all the time. Unfortunately, like that's part of being a point guard sometimes. Like, you got to be, it, whether you like it or not, to me in basketball terms, point guards hold a bit of like leadership toughness that resonates throughout the whole team. Like, if the point guard is tough, you can usually count on the rest of the team being tough. If the point guard's soft, who really knows?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a comfortable conversation to have. It's one that we probably will keep having, because that's something we'd like to talk about and something we see in this Duke team. But look, whether or not you define that as they're better without him or you want to play into the conspiracy theory, it's been noticeable to me that I have not felt like this Duke team is soft since he has departed. I haven't seen them playing for foul calls. I haven't seen them flopping around on the court. Like when Hofstra made a run tonight, Duke hit them in the mouth. Like that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see them respond with runs, respond with tenacity. And instead, in other moments of adversity this season with Tyrese Proctor, I feel like they've responded by begging for calls and looking around with bad body language. So that didn't happen tonight. It will be something to monitor. I can say adamantly, they need Tyrese Proctor to be national championship level good. They need Tyrese Proctor to take a step forward and be something that he hasn't been so far this season for that to happen. But in the interim, they look pretty damn good without him, and that's a good sign for the Blue Devils. They got Baylor 8 days from today, so a full week from today. We will have a full preview on the channel for that game, I am sure. But any look-ahead thoughts for you with Baylor? Because that's your team's opponent this weekend.
Yeah, I like Baylor, but I don't think Baylor's strengths as far as what they are in the front court is something that can affect, Filipowski and Mitchell. I was actually looking at the schedule right now as you were talking about that, and I was looking to see like when they play like a Clemson. Like what are Filipowski and Mitchell going to do with PJ Hall in that front court? Because that to me is one of the toughest front courts in the country, just toughness wise. And they got Syracuse, Notre Dame, Pitt. Pitt's got a solid front court. I think that's be one to watch with the Twins. And then Georgia Tech again. So it's like, I think they have something here. Who knows when Proctor actually comes back? But I think they just need to lean all in on Flip being first team All-American and just rocking with that. Especially if he's going to have games where he can dish out assists like this. Granted, he did have the 7 turnovers, but I can't remember the last time I see Flip had a game where he had 8 assists. And I think that is a direct equivalent to the fact that Proctor is not in the lineup and they need some more playmaking out of Flip.
Yeah, Duke has outside of this Baylor game, they have a bit of an opening in the schedule, I would say. Their next games after Baylor go Queens, Syracuse, at Notre Dame, at Pitt, Georgia Tech, home to Pitt, at Louisville. And then they got Clemson. But that's 7 consecutive games that they are favored in, according to KenPom, after the Baylor game. They're 2-point underdogs to Baylor. So
ACC stinks, man.
Duke's doing their job.
Yeah, I'm just saying. We talk a lot about the Big Ten. I know it's not this type of episode, but I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, Duke's doing their job. The preseason top 5 teams in the ACC seem to be holding up their end of the bargain. So,
jab counter.
Duke fans, we'll see you next time. Congrats on your win.